All right. Good evening and welcome to Husker Heat. I sent apparently the company that runs these broadcasts became disconnected from our Twitter account. So I was just sending out a message on Twitter that they may not be able to see it. So go to either, I'm just informing you rather, because if they can't see it on Twitter, they don't know this, but to go to our YouTube Live or Facebook page to watch. So let's see if some people catch up there eventually. And it really stinks because this is our first ever WCWS Women's College World Series broadcast of Husker Heat. They blazed through Oklahoma State, a team we had gone 1-5 against previously, including a split this season when the third game was canceled. And it was almost all, close, or not blowout, but, mostly they just owned us because every single one of those games was in Stillwater, Oklahoma. This is the first time that the Cowgirls had come to play in Bowling, because we were the higher seeded team in the tournament and we're playing them in the super regional. But it wasn't anything nefarious, like, oh, they're scared to come to Lincoln. It's just a case, if we're going to play them, it's got to be before the conference schedule starts in mid-March, where the weather's going to be crappier the farther north you get. So if we want to play them, we're going to go down, play them in Stillwater, or play them farther south in one of the preseason non-conference games. So that was the reason they hadn't been there in a while. I guess they didn't play at all between like 2015 and maybe 2020, something like that. But we finally got them in Lincoln, and brother, did we put the wood to them. Combined score of 17-2, beat them 8-1 and 9-1. Just a solid thrashing, if I may. It runs our record to 51-6. And let's just go ahead and talk about what the most thrilling part of that was. Mylie, who are we also having a lot of trouble beating in the circle for Oklahoma State and Washington?
Ruby Malin.
Yeah, Ruby had gone, I think, two wins, one loss, one no decision, but the no decision, they ended up winning in 11. She pitched 10 of those 11 innings, I think, and just gave up a run, and we ended up losing, was it two? Or maybe it was 2 runs, because I think they got a couple in the bottom of the 7th to tie us, and then after Alexis Jensen was just mowing him down, I think it was Rosie Davis belted one out to start the 11th inning off, and that was that. But so she was pretty much 3-0-1 against us. She did all the work. Riley, what was Riley's last name? Gaines. But hopefully she came in, pitched one inning, and then got the win in that game. But Ruby pretty much shut us down. The one we lost was when both she and in the second game they played down in Stillwater this year, she and Jordy both came in the 4th inning, pitched the last 4 innings. We got 2 runs off of her in the 6th, and then Jordy shut him down to get us a win. No suspense like that this weekend. Ruby Malin got chased out of both games. In the 8-1 loss, she pitched 2 innings. Credit for 2 innings. She pitched a lot of batters in the 3rd without getting it out. Gave up 8 hits, 7 earned runs. Struck out 2, only walked 1. And then in the 8-1 loss, she pitched 4 2/3. Gave up 7 hits, 6 earned runs, struck out 2, walked 2. Basically, for the weekend, she had an ERA of 13.65.
Yikes.
And she was about, in the low 2s, 207 going into the weekend. And then her whip was 2.850. And, like I said, 1 or lower is better there. And I think she had one maybe just over 1 on the season. Now, she did have an issue with home runs this year, much like our own Alexis Jensen. I think she ended up giving up 25 on the season now after we hit 3 on her over the weekend, because was it Hannah Coor and Laura Kamenzen hit them on Saturday, and then on Friday, who knocked one out on Friday? Was that Jessie Farrell? Yes. In the 5 RBI game. Yeah. Jessie Farrell had a 3-run homer and then came up. knocked into, and we were up 5-0, and I was, it was about the fourth inning, and I was like, 5 RBIs, that's in a single game, that's pretty good, right? And she'd done it in the first 2 at-bats, and basically everybody hit over 300, and most everybody way over 300 in those 2 games, and the only one who didn't was Laura Kamensen, who'd been hitless, I think, in a couple of weekends or for several games at least. I don't think she got a hit in the regional. And then with her last at-bat, she belted out a 3-run homer. So she finished 1 for 6 for the weekend, but with a homer and 3 RBIs. So let's hope that carries into the Arkansas game. So, yeah, really, I mean, just absolutely vanquished the ghost of Omaha Skutt's Ruby Malin, who, didn't go to Nebraska for whatever reason. Not everyone goes to Nebraska. I mean, look how many of the girls on this roster started off at other schools and then came back. And Ruby Malin was an All-America. And once Jordy had come back, Ruby is not about to come here and play second fiddle. For her last 2 seasons, she wanted to go to good programs and show she could carry them, and considered Oklahoma State a jump from Washington. And if we're honest, it was. I think, Washington's like they're like a 20 to 25th ranked team, good team. Really missed her when she was gone, and still managed to be ranked. And I think, they were definitely ranked higher with her, but then goes to Oklahoma State, who's been to 12 or 13 College World Series. They're just a little drive up the road from Oklahoma City where they play it. And if you look on their outfield wall, it's just, nothing but about 25 years of going to the NCAA tournament, half of those the college, the Women's College World Series, and even Kenny Gajewski, the Oklahoma State coach, said we just didn't quite have the team to get to that this year. And if you watch Kenny during the games, Kenny likes to bark at umps. He's one that'll give a good chewing out. We're going to talk a little about the whole Trey Fromm and his brothers later. Supposedly some of that involved him. But you get the guy in the press conference afterwards, and this is just a really good guy, really positive guy, especially after they lost, and the 2 he brought out, realized, they're both seniors, and they're all becoming choked up, realizing that, the end of that, it's the end of the road for them on that team, and it's the end of the road for him coaching them. And there was one of them where he talked about where he was just looking at her, and because he told us, and they were nodding when he said it, that when he recruits them, he goes, "This is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. We're going to push you very, very hard. We're probably going to push you harder than any coach has pushed you." But he says, "But we're going to be there with you. We're not going to be doing it to you. We're going to be doing it with you, and you're going to be glad for it at the end." And they, you can tell these were girls that are choked up not to be playing for him anymore. He had nothing but good things to say about them, and he just had fantastic things to say about the Cornhuskers and Rhonda Revelle. He said he knew it even when we went down there for the split, that just with the pitching and the sticks we have, that we were going. He said even then he thought this is a team that not only can go to the College World Series, but can win it all. And he said, and then after you get beat 17-2 or whatever it was, he goes, I absolutely think they can win it all. He just talked about how deep they are, in just all facets of the game, how there may not be a 1-2 punch in college softball like them. I would say maybe Tennessee, if you look at all 3 of their stats, and that team's been through the SEC, that might be the one where I can say, okay, they can maybe, pitch with anybody. But that's about it, really. And, other SEC teams can get mad, but they've proved it. They proved it against great competition, and they'll get a chance to prove it again. And about Rhonda Revelle, he said he's known her for years. All these coaches have known Rhonda for years. And he just says for years, she does things the right way. And that's the thing that really got it. He's like, she's always there to help anybody else. When you play them, it's going to be a well-coached team, and she does both on and off the field, does everything the right way, that sort of thing. So he had nothing bad to say at all about anyone. And as far as anything that went on in the stands, he didn't even bring that up. So once again, a team we beat for the championship, pretty class act. over there. And yes, both these teams definitely get into it with each other. And if you watched any of the other super regionals, you saw how heated it gets this time of year. Texas Tech and Florida stood out. You caught some of that, Mylie?
On social media I did. I know they didn't shake hand. Florida didn't shake hands with Texas Tech after the last game,
Mm-mm.
and Texas Tech was pissed.
But
So
yeah, and those two, I mean, it's one of those things. You suck it up. Texas Tech went out there, and Florida just basically got their stuff and left. And then Texas Tech started letting them have it when they wouldn't come out and shake hands. And the coaches were kind of herding them back to their dugout to celebrate, not yell at the Florida players. And but the more I read and watched about that series, that was basically heat. That was heated from the first pitch. It sounded like that. I don't know why or what had gone on with these teams before, but it sounded like, and maybe it was so hot and miserable down there that it sounded like the bugs there were ridiculous. They were showing some of the clips
yeah.
of just the bugs swarming in that place. Ugh.
I mean, as a coach though, wouldn't you not want your team to look like you made them look like when they didn't shake hands?
Funny you should bring that up.
But it is
And there's a
Florida,
reason their
so.
coach wasn't able to do that, because in the last inning,
Oh,
while
he
they
was
were
kicked
down
out, wasn't
9,
he?
he
Yeah.
thought he'd come out and bark at the ump about some balls and strikes.
Yeah.
And the ump looked at him and just started yelling back, like, "What the hell are you even think you're doing?" And then bleep, he said something. Okay, that's it. You're out.
Forgot
Few
about that.
parting words. So I'm just wondering if their coach just basically didn't want to shake hands either, and so he just decided to get himself tossed and not have to say anything instead of speak his mind and make it even worse. So
It's
yeah,
very
so you
on
had a head
brand for
coach,
Florida.
huh?
Very on brand for Florida.
Oh my God, yeah, as like family Georgia fans, yeah, we've seen it from Florida again and again, but yeah, it just seemed like a ridiculous time. I'm going to get mad about balls and strikes. It's 16-7. I don't think the strike zone cost you the game. I watched about 3 innings of it. And when it started off, like Florida hit a 3-run homer to come back and tie it up at 7.
No, they took the lead.
Did they end up taking the lead there?
They were up 4-3 before the rain delay on Sunday.
No, I'm talking about when it was 7-4.
Oh, okay.
And then they hit a 3-run homer to tie it at 7. And I knew they finished with, I think the final was 16-7. But then right away, home run back from Texas Tech. And it might have been Mia Williams. And for those of you who don't know Mia Williams' story, her father is Jason Williams, West Virginia, or I can't even remember where he went to school. He went to high school with Randy Moss. And if you ever saw the Randy Moss 30 for 30 Rand U, then you realize Randy Moss played football mostly, but one year he played basketball. And Jason Williams, who came to be better known in the NBA as White Chocolate, because he was a white point guard who very much did not play a boring country white man's game. And he and Randy Moss, if you guessed the one year that they played together, that they easily won the state championship, you'd be correct. And there's some old videos out there of Jason Williams throwing some alley-oops to Randy Moss. And I just felt bad a little bit for all the other kids in West Virginia having to go up against that. But Jason Williams was at that game, and he had believe me, he, like Larry Bird, an all-time All-NBA trash talker, despite being, about 6 foot 6'1" and 160 pounds, it looked like. But yeah, he was there chirping when Texas Tech took the lead. He's doing the gator chomp and talking shit at the Florida fans. And it just sounded like a hot, miserable, bug-infested place to play, and in that kind of an environment, just the slightest anything is going to set anybody off, and it set everybody off. And it wasn't the only heated one. You think of women's softball as, hey, they're always chirping from the dugout, but usually you'll see it, and there's talk, but it's not quite what I like to say a lot of college baseball has become, where it looks like half these games, you get so many of these teams, that are just sitting there, and it's a non-contact sport, but they're just threatening each other with all manner of bodily harm. Like there actually will be a fight on the field that doesn't involve a little bit of shoving, being pulled away, and all of that. And it just seems like steroid rage fueled pointless screaming, whereas the women just, they're nonstop. I mean, yeah, I think we talked about it before. Mylie, how would
Mm-hmm.
hockey have been if you just had to constantly be yelling from the bench?
Awful.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of it, but just not nonstop every
It's
time.
all like it doesn't stop. I mean, it stops in between innings, but
Yeah,
from the beginning of the top of the inning to the end of the top, beginning of the bottom to the end of the I mean, they just yell.
and
I'm like,
whoever's in batting is just, whichever team's at bat's just going to have the full dugout, like chirping it up. And they do sneak in some like chants directed at the other teams. And the only time I really saw it kind of explode, because they usually do a pretty good job of don't scream in their face, don't taunt anybody. It's usually a lot of yelling just back at your own dugout, even if what they're saying is directed at the other dugout. But it was in the UCLA game after Kelly Inouye Perez tried to get Jordy Fromm tossed for the malicious intent against UCLA in the Big Ten final. And we didn't really hear from the dugout because the parents in front of us were using all the colorful language as God intended to let the umps know what they thought of that particular challenge. And and it was turned down. But then then we're back out with the bases loaded and two away, and Hannah Camenzind rips one up the middle. We score a pair. The throw gets away from the catcher back up the third baseline, and Hannah Coor comes scooting in to empty the bases. And Hannah Coor, Kennedy Williams, and a little less, but still there. Once I think she saw that the other two were letting them have it, Caitlin Canada, the three of them were just letting Taylor Tinsley in particular just have it. There, I mean, I couldn't really get a move on the lip reading or anything. If John Boy ever takes that up, then fair enough. But yeah, they were unloading like, I got your malicious intent right here. Rhonda Revelle kind of confirmed that might have been what upset the team most of all. Not that malicious intent, they were trying for malicious intent ejection, but that they directed it at Jordy, which was one, we know what you're trying to do here. That's our best, far and away, our best player, our best pitcher, our best hitter. But number two, you're directing it at a person who's never done anything malicious on the diamond in her life. That's what really seemed to set her teammates off. So, but that's what you get more with the ladies doing it. I'm not saying they don't let each other have it. It's just a little more. I mean, Jessie Farrell on big strikeouts and big games loves to take that ball and fire the thing about 20, 30 feet in the air and land it somewhere around the mound. Just that strikeout. And if I'm the guy, the batter that just struck out, and I just see that ball sailing in the air, to me that's kind of like a thrown bat, and like, grrr, you're definitely trying to get in the other team's head a little then. But yeah, it'll be an interesting College World Series, especially when you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 SEC. It's 5 SEC teams, 2 Big Ten teams, and 1 Big 12 team. And some of those SEC games, I think, what does it get like in hockey, Mylie, when, say, you're playing the same team for about the 5th or 6th time that season?
Well,
Are you just a little sick of each other by then?
yeah.
And so, like, they won't be able to go dropping gloves or anything.
I have
But
something to add.
what's that?
Jordy is the USA Softball Player of the Year.
Oh, they just named that. Okay, I saw her.
8 minutes ago.
Final 3. Good deal. We'll get that tweeted out. So USA Softball, so they do Player of the Year. And was it one or two of the others, though, will split it between Player of the Year and Pitcher of the Year. And then if you're a dual threat player, you're probably not winning either of those. Although Najiri Kennedy did. She won Pitcher of the Year, but she did have the dominant pitching statistics last year. This year, she didn't hit near as much. I think she only batted about 30 or 40 times. They tended to hit, Caitlin Terry a lot. And, well, let me throw her name out there. I'm kind of surprised I didn't see her up for some of the national awards, because she had an ERA, I think, well under 2, and she hit about 470. And it looked like if she wasn't pitching, she was playing right field or first base. So, like, she was – and I think she hit more this year than Kennedy did last year. So, and I guess, they're back in the College World Series. So whatever reason, it works out. All right, before I start trying to put some order back to this show, but there's going to be a lot of this. I'm not going to be running stats out. We're in the College World Series. We're going to have a little fun, talk about whatever in front of our sparse, oh geez, our what do I want to call it? Our sparse Twitter denied crowd tonight. And I'll get the replay out there for those guys and say, here's where you can watch. Anyway, we do have some comments going. We got, let's see. Good man Brad in the house says Huskers are locked in and the World Series is wide open. I did see some like FanDuel odds on the College World Series. And brother, if you think, let's see, here you go. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, not in the series, is a big advantage for the Skurs. Well, I don't think Oklahoma State was quite good enough this year. And you saw what even Coach Gajewski said, that she was just gassed because they pulled her out in a 3-1 game on Saturday. And before anybody even got a chance to ask him, he gave an opening statement, said it was just time to come out. She was gassed. We knew she was gassed. They talked about her rise balls not getting up, other pitchers getting up, and other pitches getting up into the zone. And, and just saying, and Nebraska did what good teams do when you're not putting your pitches where they need to go. They beat up on her. So he did a very good job of going, yes, she was gassed, but I'm not trying to take anything away from the Huskers. They did their job. But yeah, and Oklahoma, I'm telling you, it's not a total surprise. They won the SEC regular season. As a matter of fact, there's only 2 conference tournament champs in the College World Series. Now, you're going to have fewer when 5 of them are from one conference, but the only 2 conference tournament champs in the College World Series are Nebraska and Texas. But Texas didn't win the regular season. Oklahoma did, but Oklahoma played a pretty piddling non-conference schedule. They did. And they correctly assumed it wouldn't keep them from a good seed, that the SEC was tough enough. And I can see that because we didn't have a very tough Big Ten schedule. I think the only really good team we played in there in the regular season was UCLA. We missed Oregon. We missed Washington, although we played 2 games with them in non-conference. We missed Indiana, got them in the playoffs. And who else was missed? Ohio State. Michigan made a rise, obviously, at the end of the year. They made the NCAA tournament field. But yeah, we didn't play a completely bottom-heavy schedule, but we played a few off the bottom and some in the middle, and only one of the top 3. So, we had to go play that non-conference schedule, toughest in the country. But as Rhonda said, it was a big risk, but big risks pay big rewards. And it ended with us with ranked number 1 in 2 polls, number 3 in RPI, and the 4th national seed. It worked. Things worked. So let's see. What do we got here? Oh, this may be. I'm saying it right now. We might already, and this is just me. Rhonda would laugh. She laughs so hard at me when I start throwing numbers and weird records and weird things at us, and I said to her, it's like, well, this was almost, since you guys didn't get to play that 3rd game with Okie State, I let off on Saturday after the game by going, this is almost like you were playing the rubber match of that series with the highest stakes possible. And she's like, geez, she's like, I never thought of that. And she's kind of laughing about it. And she goes, she's like, yeah, it's like, but this is a great team, all that kind of stuff. And she goes, and yeah, I'm glad you were here to think of that, because you're the one who's supposed to be coming up with the stuff like this. And I just went, you're welcome. And so we got a good laugh out of that. But yeah, going back to Oklahoma, they were number 1 in the other 2 polls. They'd actually been number 1 in all the polls before the conference tournaments, and then ESPN and NFCA vote one more time. And after we went through UCLA again, they moved us up to number 1. But they just didn't strike me as your regular old Oklahoma team. They were kind of like UCLA, big offensive numbers, but not doing the big offensive numbers against really good teams. And they just didn't feel like the unbeatable Oklahoma. It almost felt like they were just being voted that high out of habit, since they'd won 3 of the last 4 national championships. kind of like Alabama kept getting voted #1 until they realized that it's not quite going back to the Nick Saban days just yet. Tiger Shark Divers in the house, a little GBR. Go Big Red. Love hearing you. Connor, and hey, while I've got, Connor's got a corn is husk. Yeah, if by husk you mean it is lean, mean, and ready to go without all the useless silks, here we come. I thanked him. I want to thank him here on the show. Connor and Mylie, they live down in Lincoln. I always drive down from Omaha from all this stuff. They allowed me to just invade their basement for the last 2 weekends. And now I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. When there's a rambunctious puppy to play with, I do
Yeah, that you
apologize.
let shit and piss on my floor.
Yeah, I let him shit and piss. He was out of my sight for like a minute or two, and I was like, I didn't even think anything of it. I'd just taken him out. He didn't need to go, and then he's just hanging out. And I'm just thinking, when he wakes up or these guys get home, I'll take him out. And I hear him coming down the stairs, and like, oh, where's our baby? I see he pissed and took a shit. And then every now and then you get to hear his sweet little Tatum's unofficial name, which I've come to know as Fucker.
No, it's Demon Dog.
No, but you can name it Demon Dog, but whenever he gets away for a little piddle or poop in the house, he becomes Fucker.
Yeah.
That's the name he's being called. James French says, GBR and congrats to Jordy. And hey, if you guys check out the, and we'll talk about this for a minute. Check out, I wrote an article on it. It timed out perfectly. And I'd asked her a question probably close to a year ago about going through rehab for a torn ACL. And she had just said, I said, but what was it like? Because remember, like 11 players missed significant time on last year's 24, 25, lady roster. And she said, well, it actually did make it a lot more fun because there was always several of us in there just going through all the rehab work together and, working out, the study halls, et cetera, et cetera. Well, this time I'd been feeling this way, but I just kind of asked her, and I was really hoping for this answer, and she couldn't leap on it fast enough. I just asked her, when you were going through that rehab, how did you stay positive and how did you keep believing that a season like this would happen? And she just went, she said, this injury turned out to be the best thing that could have happened. Well, yeah, because otherwise her college career probably ends down there in Knoxville last year. That's her senior year. If she doesn't rip up that ACL, get a medical red shirt after playing all of 2 2/3 innings. And then the way she also put it was, I love this team so much. And at the end of the day, I get to spend an extra year with that team because of that injury. And yeah, so it's just, I hit it. If you ever saw Charlie Wilson's War, I put the Zen Master angle in there. So go read the article, and I go into it a little bit more in depth. But yeah, it's the best thing for her, is the best thing for that team, because I don't think Alexis Jensen is single-handedly carrying us to the College World Series this year. I mean, Jordy didn't single-handedly carry it to us last year, but because these guys get to play together, and Jordy gets to get 12 saves, behind Alexis. It's all of that. That's a weapon other teams don't have. Is I've got a second pitcher I can start, and if you look at it, Saturday Jensen probably outpitched Jordy. She only gave up two hits, no runs, struck out 7 in 4 innings. And that was kind of the stud performance of the day. But who are you going to bring in with one shot just to close it down and take no chances? And like against Grand Canyon, what did their coach say? Well, I felt like we might be able to finally get to Jensen, and then she slams the door on us and puts Jordy in. It really is a weapon other teams can't match if we get tight in these late games. Here we go, good man Brad again. The preseason schedule is a testimony to what Rhonda wanted Nebraska to where Rhonda wanted Nebraska at the end. The end was what was important for success. And that's the thing, is now they're coming into these big games at the end, and they've already been through the fire from starting at week 1 of the season when they're playing Washington and Texas and
Texas Tech.
Texas, and then the second weekend Georgia, Texas Tech, and I think Central Florida,
Tennessee, LSU.
Yeah, Tennessee's in there. It was in there with the Texas Tech one, LSU. And then Central Florida made it to a super regional this year, and we were dispatching some of these teams like Central Florida, South Carolina, LSU, Texas A&M just with ease. We're whooping these teams. Connor says Tatum is innocent. Like, he's a sneaky little shit, and I put half the blame on that young child. Jordy and Kelsey Griffin's injuries defined their senior seasons. Help me, who's Kelsey Griffin? I know I should know that name. Good man, Brad. Give us a little Kelsey Griffin biography if you're listening here. Yeah, absolutely. That's just, I think, the story of it. Philip Seymour Hoffman tells the Zen Master story in Charlie Wilson's War, where he's going, well, they gave this little boy, this tribe gave a young man a horse, like a 14-year-old boy, and everybody said, oh, that's wonderful. And the Zen Master said, we'll see. And then the boy got thrown from the horse and broke his leg and broke his arm, and they're saying, oh my God, that's terrible. And the Zen Master said, we'll see. And then the war was declared, and all the men went off to fight the war, except the boy didn't have to go fight in the war because he had the broken arm and leg from getting tossed from the horse. And they said, isn't that wonderful? And the Zen Master said, we'll see. So it's just, bad news of any kind. You never know how it's going to roll with it. Hey, because Nebraska fans at that moment, they thought, here's our best hitting, our chance to put Jordy with one of the best hitting teams in softball, with Billy Andrews and Sidney Gray and Brooke Andrews out grabbing balls off stealing home runs like Canna Coors doing now. But then Jordy got hurt, didn't get a chance to play with those guys. Oh no, we missed our best shot to get to do as well as we can with Jordy on the hill. And yep, we saw it, didn't we? Yeah, guess what? Hey, we have a chance to win the Women's College World Series. We'll see. All right. So here are the opening games. The first round, all first round games are being played this Thursday. We play at 8:30 p.m. Central that night. I'll be heading down. I will hopefully be in the press box. We're getting all these notes. You've been approved. We don't know if we'll have room in the press box. But they said that I saw a list of like everybody applying, and hey, here's a bunch of people who, if they've been to a game at all, I haven't seen them, but welcome aboard. But that's the way the bandwagon is. All of a sudden, every news outlet wants a piece of it when it gets big. You have number 11 seed Texas Tech against Mississippi State, who was 17-32 seeds. They were somewhere in that next 16. Number 7 Tennessee, these are the seeds once again. Number 7 Tennessee versus number 2 Texas. That's the top of the bracket. So Texas is going against the 7th, 11th, and like 23rd seed or something. The bottom of the bracket, number 1 at Alabama versus number 8 UCLA, and number 4 Nebraska versus number 5 Arkansas. All the favorites, one down there. We get out of this half of the bracket and make the finals. We've once again done it the hard way. But look at our super regional, an Oklahoma State team that always gives us trouble, that we even just split with this year. They were one of our 6 losses. Our regional, I think we were the only ones that had like 2 top 25 teams in our regional as far as the rankings went. And hey, and guess what? It was a tough regional. And then we came in and blew the doors off Okie State in the super regional. The more tough games you play, the better. And so, yeah, if we come through and have to beat like Arkansas, and guess what Arkansas's RPI was? Number 1 in the country in RPI. We got the number 1 RPI team, and then if we win that, I think Alabama will beat UCLA. That we'll have the number 1 seed in the tournament. Funny thing about UCLA, I mentioned the FanDuel odds. UCLA is the favorite on FanDuel. Yeah. I mean, we're 4.
It's probably because of Megan Grant solely and Jordan Woolery.
They just see those big numbers, like
they
flood the Big Ten team with UCLA players. We won that. We won the series when we played. Oh, I'd rather win that game, I guess, than get all sorts of awards for putting 22 runs on lousy teams. And then same with the Big Ten Conference. We win the Big Ten Conference title, and UCLA still loads up because they see the big numbers they put up in beating Wisconsin 19-5. No offense to Wisconsin, but what did that make us? 3-1 against UCLA this year. But just lucky to be lucky, I guess. But yeah, they're the favorites. Like 300 to 1. I think they're 350 to 1 maybe. And then, or I guess plus 350. They're just doing the money line there. Alabama is at plus 400, and we're third at plus 450. So get your $100 bet down to win 450 bucks on Nebraska. But that was odd, I think. I didn't expect us to be the odds-on favorite. And I would have thought we'd be fourth or something like that. But UCLA is just, come on. But bookies aren't giving you who they think will win. They're basing the odds on how they think people will bet. And those odds adjust as people start their betting. And obviously, people are just enamored with the fact that, oh my God, look at these 12 runs a game. Yeah, 12 runs a game. And 4 games against us, they scored 11. So, yeah. So, 12 runs a game, great. Not against Nebraska, guys. But yeah, just it's crazy. It's crazy to me that they're just like, I get it. The numbers look beautiful, but I mean, Indiana played a really weak non-conference schedule. That doesn't make them not a good team, but they're not hitting 355 against a schedule like we played. You know how I know that? Because we hit 346 as a team last year. We were hitting 355 till we ran into Carlin Pickens. Then we finished the year hitting 346. I feel like we've got just as good a hitting as last year, but we hit 332 this year, like 15 points lower. Play tougher teams, face better pitching. So here's who we've got in the tournament. Texas Tech, 57-7 right now, 21-3, which would put them first in the Big 12. They did not win the Big 12 tournament. They lost the final to Arizona State. They're the number 11 seed, and we're number 13 in the country in RPI. Mississippi State is 43-19. They were 9-15, tied for 10th in the SEC. And they, like I said, they are a 17-32 seed and number 19 in the country in RPI, but they won when they had to win. Tennessee is 47-10, 16-8 in the SEC, which was a 3-way tie for 4th. One of those 3 was Texas, who was 47-11. Tennessee is the 7 seed, Texas the 2 seed. Tennessee was 8th in the country in RPI. Texas was 4th. Alabama finished 2nd in the SEC. They're 54-7 right now. They were 19-5 in conference. Top seed, number 2 in the country in RPI. UCLA is 52-8, 20-4 in the Big Ten. Tied them for 2nd. If there was a tiebreaker, they got 3rd because Oregon won the season series with them. Another team that just got lucky to beat UCLA, the best team in the country. And they're the number 8 seed and number 7 in the country in RPI. Us, 51-6, 23-1, won the Big Ten, 4 seed, number 3 RPI. And finally, our opponent, Arkansas, 47-11, 15-9, 7th in the SEC. And they're the number 5 overall seed, but we're number 1 in the country in RPI. Hey, tougher the better, guys. Tougher the better. Let's see what else we have in here. Do we have anything else new? Okay. Kelsey Griffin led the basketball team to a top 4 seed in 2010. Their jersey is retired. Okay. Former Husker. Good deal. Said she was hurt, missed the 2009 season, came back to lead the 2010 team to a 36-2 record. Okay. That's definitely a solid comparison. Definitely. Let's see. Where are we at? Oh, we're making pretty good time. Yeah, let's see, talk a little bit. We didn't hit that well in the regional. And against a better pitcher, we hit a lot better in the super regional. Let's see, Hannah Coor was nails. She was 3 for 6, a double, a homer, 2 RBIs, 3 runs.
I thought we were
scored.
talking statistics tonight.
Just a few. Like usually I go through the whole team. And then Jess Farrell was 2 for 6, but a 3-run homer, a 2-run single, 5 RBIs, scored 3 runs. Sneaky again, who's always sneaky tough. Casey Hoffman, 3 for 4, walked once, so she was 4 for 5 in both games. Knocked in 2 runs, scored 1. And there's Jordy getting her 20th win, an 0.88 ERA for her 2 games, a 1 WHIP. And then Lex, geez, Lex didn't give up an earned run in her appearance. Only let 3 runners on in 4 innings. Just a studly performance. Yeah, the Battle of Ruby Malin, her tank blew up, and you know what? Even their coach said we rode her all season long, and I guess for fair, probably for 2 seasons. I think she was getting up around 230 innings pitched or so, and we all got to learn that lesson 3 years ago. 3 years ago when they had only 3 pitchers. I believe it was Sarah Harness, Courtney Wallace, and Kaylin Kenny. And Kaylin Kenny got hurt in the 2nd or 3rd game of the year. So you had 2 pitchers that literally had to pitch all the innings. There wasn't really about who will they pull from the bullpen now. So, and then the next year, Rhonda made sure she had 5 pitchers on the staff. And even then, they finished that year. They hit the Big Ten tournament that year with 1 healthy pitcher. Harness, who finally ran out of gas late in the extra innings of the semifinal. So that's it. I think I've given you, to get more detail on, say, the players, the pitchers, and all that. I do a like a how to watch a team and team previews, either late the night before or the morning of their games, so you can get more details on who each team's stud horses are and all that. But other than that, I think that's about it. Anybody else got any questions? Let fly, because we're gonna roll it. We're probably gonna shut her down in about 3 or 4 minutes here. Mylie, what did you think? Mylie got to work her first playoff, work as working press at her first regional playoff series ever. What was that like?
It was fun. I don't
Yeah.
know. It wasn't like, I don't, it was just sitting there.
How was the weather?
It was hot.
It was. Every game ended up being about 90 degrees, but it was warmer. It felt warmer because at least those games, the wind kept blowing, and the games, like, forget about the rain game. The 2 other games, I think it got up into the 80s for the first one, and maybe close to 80 the second one. But the second one, especially, the breeze just stopped. At an NCAA tournament, like, you basically, at least the working press, get booted out of the press box, and the NCAA and ESPN take over. And so we were under like a press tent. If you saw the game, that little tent down the right field line, that was us. And just the sun would come in there early. And I know the weekend Mylie was there, we had a sweatshirt because we had a little metal shelf we were working on, and that thing gets a little hot. So we had Mylie's sweatshirt with all our stuff on top of that, so it wouldn't get too overheated. But everybody's electronics were getting so overheated at the Saturday game this year, brother. It's like 79, but it's just the sun. There's not a cloud in the sky, and there's not an ounce of wind. And it's like we were all just, by the end, I had a guy from they're covering Oklahoma State next to me, and Amy just on our right. And we've all got our chairs pulled back. She's got her legs covered. And mine were just feeling burned. They're not even burned yet, but just the sun was so hot with nothing blowing around that we've all moved about 4 or 5 feet back by the end of that game. I'm just standing up. I've got the my laptop on the chair turned around in front of me, and a towel hanging off the back so the sun's not beating through the opening in the back of that bar chair. And it was just something else. Like, who thought the coolest game would end up feeling the hottest? But no one cared when we won, and that's right. Got some pictures. We'll kill the last few seconds showing those, or the last couple minutes, I should say. This was from practice before the regional. I just got one where they were taking practice. Sammy Bland's up there. Yeah, you can see one coming down the pipe. But and every time someone else is batting, Jordy was behind them, just timing those pitches. Here you go. During the next weekend, the lonely life of Natalia Hill, left fielder. And if you ever get a chance, check out her and some of the other players' TikToks. She had a really funny one where she kind of looks like Sammy Bland, and Sammy wears 29 to her 27. So people are coming up to her, great job at third today, Sammy. And she's like, except I'm Natalia and I play left field. And then went and sat down at Sammy's locker. There there's the little intro, just giving you an idea of everybody packed in before a Husker regional game. Sammy and Jordy getting ready to start an inning. There's the position you'll see Sammy in every time a pitch is released. And then I got a shot of her taking a swing. And if you saw her, she got really drilled once, just right in like kind of the lower back or the side, and the ball's right behind her. That's her grimacing like one of those emojis. There, don't yell, don't let them know it hurt. And then here's Troy Dannon checking it out down by the right field gate by the warning track. And now you come to the super regional. There's our umpires, and the gal in the pink shoes was the NCAA contact who just had a phone glued to her there for about 15 minutes while hey, we're going to play again at 10:10, and 10:10 rolled around and nobody's doing anything. And the umps left once, and then they came back about 10 minutes later. There's Troy on the left, and that's where they realized the rain's not really going to be stopping till about midnight or 11:30 midnight. So let's just call it and start it again tomorrow. There's got a nice shot of just Ruby by herself going through her warm-ups there before the game one. And then let's see there, got Alexis there in mid-pitch on the tiptoe. And sometimes I'm able to get a shot of her about 3 inches off the ground where she's, that moment she's fully airborne on a pitch. And then here, Delta Dawn was kind of their song. I've got about a 2-minute video of the team singing most of it in Maryland at the Big Ten. That's Bella Bacon. Hey Siri, play Delta Dawn. So if you saw that, that's what that means. And yes, they did play Delta Dawn, and everybody sang it. And then let's see, just a little joy after the game there. I think you got Jordy left to right. You got Jordy, Ava Kuzak, Rhonda, outfielder Talia Tokheim, and freshman Scarlett Jones. And then I managed to turn around and see these two little rats getting ready to sneak up on Rhonda with the old, I guess it was it wasn't the Gatorade, it was the body armor jug full of ice water. So yeah, you got Natalia Hill, Hannah Kamenson, and I just started bursting away. And you're going to see that Alexis Jensen, number 99 there, she's seen it too, and she's got a ringside seat for it. And so there they are moving in. You can see Rhonda on the far left. That's Jordy with her arm around her. Keith, I always forget his last name. He's very high up in the communications department. Super nice guy. He spotted that, and he's getting ready to make his dash to not become collateral damage. And they're just top right. You can see like Hannah, she's getting ready to move in. And there they come. The jug is up. And there we go. Jordy realizes that she's about to become collateral damage, and there's nothing she can do about it. Splash down, fully done. Yeah, Rhonda. Oh boy, that's cold. Yep, she's still hanging on to Jordy, and I think Jordy's just caught it across the jersey there. Nothing we can do about it. There we go. Lift it up. Make sure you empty the whole thing because she's not wet enough yet. And stepping away, Alexis Jensen, probably doing her best. Woo, Ric Flair. Everybody was yelling at that point, so I couldn't even hear what she said. But another successful dousing. I was in position for this one, and then with everybody settled down, there they are with their. That is their. If you're looking at it, that is their ticket they have punched to the Women's College World Series. This was post game, and if you look really close, the one in the middle, she's kind of red faced, smiling through it. The poor girl on the left, it's starting to hit her right away that this is all over, and she was crying pretty much throughout. Kenny too, as he's keeping his sunglasses on inside. And then here are the victors, left to right. You got Rhonda, you've got Alexis Jensen, who's just acting up like a middle schooler, just goofing off and having the time of our life, and I loved it. Then there's Jordy and Hannah Core, and fun little press conference. Nothing's going wrong when you just made the Women's College World Series. I got one last shot of myself there. That some of the family members still hanging around on the field with a few of the players who didn't want it to end. So there you have it. Good times. Hopefully I'll have some more picks for you here in a couple of weeks. And I think that's about all I got. Mylie Ketterson, how about you?
No, I'm right. I'm good.
You're good. You
Goodbye.
can go if you want, because I don't want to make. I just wanted to talk about Trey Fromm a little bit.
Okay,
And
I'm leaving.
okay, because
Goodbye.
I meant to bring that up. And I don't have any pictures, but those are pretty easy to find on. Good night, Mylie. Go Big Red.
Yeah, go Big Red.
All right, full go Big Reds for the regionals. Yeah, the Trey Fromm thing. It was one of those things we were just seeing from a distance, not being in the press box there. But here's the full story, fully told to me by third parties. So this likely bears some resemblance to what happened. Okay, I have to start by explaining a little bit about Oklahoma State, having been there a few times on the road to watch us play them. And it's not a dangerous place to play. It's not like they're really getting into your face, but it's an aggressive home fan. It's not Nebraska nice, and it's encouraged. One thing about the left field bleachers take pride in harassing, and back there they are just pouring down the natties and the Busch lights or whatever. I'm sorry if I got your brand wrong, but they make it their personal mission to frazzle the left fielder. So the left fielder is just catching shit nonstop. The crowd likes to get on the other team, and it's encouraged by the PA system. Strikeouts, whatnot, like this. And I've never really seen another PA system do this. I'll see a guy get loud in the mic, like, and there's another out, and that kind of thing. But they're playing like the sound of toilets flushing, the womp, 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 and things like that, where the other team strikes out or makes an out. So it's pretty aggressive. So that's why I'm saying that. And I saw the first big group of them to walk in, and they were, getting ready to settle into their seats to the left of the dugout. And basically that's where the two fan bases were that were doing the most jawing at each other, was on the third base side towards home, the seats between the end of the dugout towards home plate, and then on the same for the first base side with the Oklahoma State fans. And I was told that shit talking started even on Thursday night, where they only got an inning in a third plate, or an inning in 2/3, something like that. I think it was an inning in a third. And right away the Oklahoma State fans were getting loud and personal, and the Nebraska fans on their opposite sides chose to give it back. So that's been going on for the rain game and the first game, so the first 2 days, and then popping into the front row for what ended up being the final game was Jordy's husband Trey Fromm and his brothers, and they had the red and white striped overalls, and they were, maybe a little oiled up. Who am I to judge? Certainly I'm not the one to judge if they were or not. But they were, let's just say, adding a little more spice to an already volatile mix. And so the top of the seventh starts, or I'm sorry, bottom of the fifth, and Jordy's getting ready to pitch, and we have a little commotion. And the way I understand it, there were some F-bombs being lobbied by these guys near a hot mic, or by Trey. Trey was the only one that got thrown out, is what I was told. But then his brothers are like, well, we're leaving too. And what I thought was pretty hilarious, they're throwing their arms up, like getting the crowd on their feet, high-fiving everybody on their way out. And then they came right back in after the game was over. And at that point, who cares? And I also heard that, I don't know who started it, but that Coach Gajewski began engaging with them and got heated at them and complained to the umpires. And, like I said, great guy off the field. I think he'd be fantastic to play for. I like his attitude. I like the positivity he brings. Like he was being very positive after that loss, and nothing but good things to say about his opponents, etc. But on the field, we've seen him get in an argument or two or 20. And so there he was, mixing it up. And it might have been those complaints that got the umps to tell the person, I guess, was kind of in charge of the stands, security, whatever. And he was the only one up and, nicely explained, you got to go. And they didn't fight it at all and gave him a hard time. And so that was it. And for those of you who are wrestling fans, the one that really just had people, I can't believe these Nebraska fans, how embarrassing for them, and how embarrassing for Jordy. And the horror. Yeah, whatever. This is another third-party story, and I will clean it up a little. But supposedly, asked Jordy because she could be seen kind of laughing what was going on. If she was embarrassed, nah. And then I believe that it was either was she or Trey or somebody. She did it, I think, but tweeted with a picture of them together after the game. And hey, who's got a problem with a husband supporting his wife? And I imagine that there were plenty of personal things being shouted from the Oklahoma State side, and yeah, hubby might get a little wired up for that. And all of a sudden people will be going, oh, he has to rise above it. Well, hey, how about the ones who started rise above it? But I don't know who started what. I know that I'm just saying, I know how the fans are down there and how they treat visiting teams. And I know how Nebraska treats visiting teams. Now we have to say mostly. But it's one of those things, if you want to make it personal with us, we're not necessarily the type that's just going to clap through it and let you spew it and not give you anything verbal back. That I think some people are surprised. Oh, this is Nebraska nice, the nicest fans and all that, and then are stunned to find some beefy fellow using some choice words that Shakespeare may have alluded to in his times. But it's what I like to call, when it comes to cursing, using all the tools available to you. You don't use the tool too much or it'll become worn, but a choice word here or there can be very effective. And by all the tops it was blowing off the Okie State folks and then the rest of the country, must have been very effective. But the gesture Trey was using, let's just say if you were a fan of wrestling and you happen to enjoy DX, the Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg Jesse James, and Billy Gunn, or who's our boy now that wants to curse everybody, Danhausen. Danhausen now refers to Billy Gunn as Billy Ass because it said Ass Man or Mr. Ass on the back of his wrestling trunks. Again, not something you're into if you're into just classy humor and stuff that's above it all. This wasn't. He was doing the gesture of slamming an X down above their crotches. The D-Generation X do that while firing fireworks in X shapes over the ring. And if only we had that, maybe next year we just get ready for that sort of thing and get some X shaped fireworks blasting off the scoreboard. But then we'll upset those SEC teams that don't shake hands. And I think my favorite, we were talking about old Jason Williams earlier, White Chocolate. His daughter Mia, I think it was Mia, where Florida pitched and hit her, and it was like the fifth time she'd been hit in the series. But if you watched, you saw her literally remember the Grand Canyon batter who stuck their foot out at the ball. She literally can be seen sticking her knee out at the ball to get hit. I know I'm leaning forward doing it like you can see my knee, but then the Texas Tech bench just starts blowing up. Here, I could read those lips. Here come the F bombs. John Boy Media can probably get that. Give me that shit and all that stuff. Yeah, they're yelling at the Florida hit pitcher for hitting a batter who had to stick her knee out to get hit, and the ump didn't see it or call it or whatever. So yeah, there's a little worse sportsmanship going on. I just think of it as being excitable. Don't blame the ump. Let's settle it down now before somebody says exactly the wrong thing and they're running through the poor people behind the plate to get at each other, or in the seats behind the plate to get at each other. So probably a good toss. Let everybody know, all right, enough's enough. Let's get through 3 outs of this and then have a celebration. So anyway, I thought I'd just talk about that. Like I said, got none of this first person. Yeah, supposedly Jordy, when told that or when asked about Trey, letting the other teams, parents and coach have it, she said, "I love that poop, only not poop," because I don't want to attribute that quote to her with the full word, just in case she didn't say it. And then when asked about what she thought about him being kicked out, she said, "I love that poop even more. I think that's hilarious." And what are you going to do? Go apologize for your husband on national TV? No, I love my husband. All right. So it looks like weather will be in the mid 80s through to 90 days. That's what I'm seeing, is stuff in the 80s. And it looks like chance of thunderstorms starting like afternoon and evening on Thursday. But right now, what I'm seeing was like 30 to 40% chance, which I think it was just about all the weekends except maybe Saturday. And I think Friday ended up clearing up after originally being given. We did get spit on some. We got rained on some Friday, but there might be more of that. But it doesn't look like it's a for sure thing. And this time of year, take it from Drew, the meteorologist, who you may have seen on here once. Drew, he'll be the first one to tell you this time of year, the spring stuff, it's just so volatile. The winds are constantly shifting. They're doing their best, but I don't think you can really trust it until about 2 hours before this time of year. And I don't think that's going to change any in Oklahoma City where the winds just blow all over the place. So hopefully we get everything in. I mean, we will one day, one way or another. And I hope I'm spending a long, long time in Oklahoma City. If I am down there next Tuesday, you know what? Perfect. That's the off day. That's the off day between the end of the round robin and the final. If we're in that final, that could be a really interesting show. So I'll be in whatever beat up hotel room with a great rating I am in. And other than that, I think we're done for the evening. For those of you who may come back and rewatch it, I apologize for the problems with Twitter. I was probably supposed to reload something, but I don't know. Sometimes I just don't know the ins and outs of the podcast process as much as I know softball and football and, well, sports movies, because that'll be the next podcast after softball. So go Big Red. Love you guys. Thank the very few of you that were on watching tonight. Hopefully we'll have you all next week, and we can get some of the people that missed to rewatch the Twitter version. It's the same version, hopefully we can get it pumped on Twitter, and all will be well in the way of things, as Stephen King said in The Dark Tower, I believe. So love you guys. Love Big Red. I don't think they have any intention of going down and putting on a show. I think they're going down to win themselves a Women's College World Series. It's too good a story. And we've probably got one player who, more than anyone else, knows what it's like to be the biggest person on the biggest stage in this tournament. And even when she came here, did we think Jordy Fromm was going to just automatically take us to the Women's College World Series? And was it going to be a big improvement? But certainly not this. Brother, we belong. We belong in this tournament. We have played top teams. I think, who have we played? 1, 2, 3, 4. We've played 4 teams in this tournament, and our record against them, hold on, 1-0, 1-1, 2-2, 5-3. I think we're 5-3 against 4 teams in this tournament. 1-0, 1-1, 1-0 Texas Tech, 1-1 Tennessee, 2-2 split with Texas, and 3-1 against UCLA. So we've got a winning record against this field, and let's roll. That's the Tide. Screw them. Go Big Red. We'll see y'all next week.